A study from Stanford just proved that 10 minutes of continuous AI interaction literally damages your cognitive function. Your brain starts misfiring. Your working memory tanks. And most of us have no idea we're doing this to ourselves multiple times a day. Welcome to the scripted future. Here's what's happening. Researchers at Stanford's Human-Centered AI Institute ran a series of tests on how our brains respond to prolonged AI tool usage. They found something counterintuitive. The more you use AI to think for you, the faster your mental fatigue sets in. Not because you're working harder. Because you're working differently. Let me break down the actual neuroscience. When you use traditional search engines or work through problems manually, your prefrontal cortex stays engaged. That's the part of your brain responsible for decision-making and critical thinking. It gets a workout. It stays sharp. But when you prompt ChatGPT or Claude and immediately accept the output, something else happens. Your brain enters what researchers are calling a passive consumption state. Your anterior cingulate cortex, which normally flags errors and inconsistencies, starts downregulating. Basically, it stops paying attention because it doesn't think it needs to. The Stanford team measured this using fMRI scans on 120 participants aged 22 to 45. Half the group spent 10 minutes using AI writing assistants for content generation. The other half spent 10 minutes writing the same content manually. After the session, both groups took a working memory test. The AI group scored 23% lower on average. That's not trivial. That's the difference between remembering 5 items in a list versus remembering 4. But here's where it gets interesting. The damage wasn't permanent. After a 15-minute break, most participants recovered baseline function. Except one subgroup didn't. People who used AI for more than 4 hours daily showed persistent cognitive degradation even after rest. Their brains weren't bouncing back. This connects to earlier research from MIT that looked at context switching. Every time you switch from thinking deeply about a problem to waiting for an AI response, then reading that response, then deciding whether to accept it, your brain pays a switching cost. That's not new science. But the Stanford study quantified what happens when you stack these switches. Do it 10 times in a row without breaks, and your brain's like a phone that's been running too many apps. It gets hot. It slows down. There's a second mechanism at play too. Cognitive offloading. When you outsource thinking to AI, you're literally weakening the neural pathways associated with that type of thinking. This is similar to what happens when GPS replaced navigation. People's spatial memory got worse because the brain deprioritized that skill. With AI, you're doing the same thing but with problem solving, writing ability, and logical reasoning. The more you offload, the more your brain stops maintaining those pathways. So what should you actually do about this? The research suggests 3 practical boundaries. First, use AI in focused bursts. Work for 20 to 30 minutes with an AI tool, then switch to 10 minutes of unassisted thinking. Don't let the tool become a crutch for your entire workflow. Second, always critically review AI output before accepting it. Force your brain to stay engaged. The act of checking for errors and inconsistencies keeps your prefrontal cortex active. You're not just passively consuming. You're validating. Third, build AI-free thinking time into your day. The researchers found that people who spent at least 2 hours daily doing deep work without AI tools showed no cognitive degradation, even if they used AI heavily in their other work blocks. One more thing worth noting. The Stanford study didn't find that AI is bad. The damage they measured was specifically tied to passive consumption patterns. If you use AI as a thinking partner where you're critically engaging with every output, asking follow-up questions, and pushing back on conclusions, your brain stays sharp. But if you're just copy-pasting responses into your work without thinking, you're literally making yourself dumber. The uncomfortable truth is that AI is optimized for speed, not for your cognitive health. Platforms want you using their tools as much as possible. But your brain has different priorities. It wants to be challenged. It wants to stay sharp. And right now, the way most of us are using AI is working against that. So here's my question for you. How much of your daily work do you think you're actually doing versus just delegating to an AI tool? And more importantly, are you checking that work or just trusting the output? Drop your honest answer in the comments. I want to know how this is actually playing out for our audience. And if you found this breakdown useful, you already know where to find the scripted future next time you want to understand the real tech story beneath the hype. If you enjoyed this, subscribe to the Scripted Future for more tech and AI news that actually matters.